It is I, Petrol T. Today's going to be a bit of a short video. By the way, don't mind the 5 head that I am rocking right now. Today's subject, well, at least today's aim, is to disprove this idea that you have to starve yourself for abs, and abs are made in the kitchen. I'm going to show this video. I'm not going to say for you to attack this person. I think he's an okay source of information. He's not like an S-tier YouTuber like Bold Omni Man or whatever. But his name is Kohan Kortoski. I think he's Eastern European or something. Anyway, hope you see it. Let me just go back. Stop trading your abs to reveal your abs. It's a complete waste of time. And here's why. To begin, everyone has abs. I will critique this video after I run through it, just to let you know. And it's probably covered up by a layer of fat. And the way you're... Oh, my dumbass. Okay. It's not doing 1,000,000 crunches every day. This will help strengthen your midsection, but it won't make them any more visible. By the way, to reveal abs is to be a low body enough fat percentage. Then you get into calorie deficit. Okay, we all heard this offering before. By the way, do you like the fact that I got literal 4090 in the background? I am so fucking stoked. Anyway, there is so much wrong with this video, and some that is right. But that's almost like a bad thing, that there's some right in it. Because technically, yeah, if you're 50% body fat, no matter how many crunches you're going to do, you don't get to see your abs. But that's the end of the truth in that. See, if you have abs... Well, actually, let's attack this one thing first. Not everyone has abs. I've been skinny as hell, and my abs were like this thin. I've seen many people in eating disorder discords, they have abs this thin, they cut, and they see them, and it's awesome, and then they gain like 5 pounds, and suddenly it's all gone. And it looks like they've never even cut before. The reason being is that you have to have the hills to make the valley. And if you're out here with a fucking little baby hills that aren't even hills, but maybe just like elevations, you know, this type of shit that people still build their houses on anyway, it's not going to take that much for it to be flooded. Think about a moat. A moat isn't just like... it's like... woo, for a reason. And it's the same thing with your abs. If you don't have thick enough abs, you're not going to see them even at low body fat percentages. You have to go even lower, and even lower, and even lower. And that's sacrificing your mental energy, your hair potentially, your general energy levels, you just love for life, etc, etc, etc. And to make it out to be like abs are only achieved via a calorie deficit makes it seem like it's nothing that you can really sustain or achieve unless you get to that point. So there's going to be a lot of beginners who think, okay, I just want abs. Why should I then bulk for like 2 years and develop them fully? Or, well, not fully. You can never really develop anything fully in 2 years. But let's say, why should I go and train for like, let's be more realistic, 7 years properly, learning and getting better, and truly taking my abs through a full range of motion and genuinely getting them thicker and stronger to then cut later? Why not just cut now? Because you're gonna not have abs. Abs are a muscle just like any other, and if you're gonna tell, it's like, here's the thing, right? I am potentially, like, I'm like 16-17% body fat. I still have chest striations. Not the thickest, but when I flex, I can still see really thick fibers. Reason being is because I actually developed the muscle. You think I could do that before? Nah. I couldn't even do that when I was like skinny. Reason being is because I just didn't have the muscle or the contractile tissue in general just to have it pop out. Muscle pushes through fat. Just look at Eddie Hall. Look at Eddie Hall. He's 35% body fat at the very least at this current stage. And he has abs. Really chunky. They're like bricks. The reason being is because he worked them. And so if you're gonna just starve yourself without any plan to do any actual work within them, you're gonna be heavily disappointed. Just dead ass. Like even this guy, I'm not gonna pick on him and say his physique is, but I think his physique is dope. It's great for like the general public and whatnot. But let's just be real here. He's under goon lighting, and you kind of can see his abs. I mean, you can't see jack shit because, well, I'm terrible at that. There, I don't know if you can see that. Like, you could kind of see it, but it's not like protruding out, and he's under goon lighting, right? Like he's under influence of lighting, and you could tell he's flexing. Okay, he is definitely flexing those abs. There's no way he isn't. He is stiff as a brick down there. Wait, that came out very wrong. I'm not talking about his penis, you dirty-minded bastards. You know what I mean, though. And that's what you get usually when you have the idea of getting abs solely via starving yourself. You just kind of walk around flexing, honestly. And it's not bad. Okay, it's a good look. But if you want a thin physique with thin abs, you're going to have to do thin eating. And listen, I'm Pakistani. I'm not going to... listen, my mum's old. My mum's probably going to die soon. And that's a scary thought. I don't want to have the rest of my life be filled with guilt. I couldn't have her last curry or whatever because I wanted to maintain thin abs. That will probably go away if I have a bowl of soup. Which is the case for a lot of people. Again, I've been in eating disorder discords. They gain like 5 pounds, which usually should be absolutely nothing for like an advanced athlete. Like 5 pounds on some really thick abs, nothing. You could probably gain 20 pounds on some thick abs, and it's nothing. Or at the very least, you can still see the outline. I mean, look at Max Usida. He was friggin' bulked up, friggin' probably 25, maybe even 30% body fat. Let's be realistic. Maybe like 27% body fat. And he still had abs at the end of it because his abs are so damn chunky. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean... you don't necessarily have to target them and isolate them at all times. But having the ability to target them and to properly spinally flex through them and to be able to move through them, to stabilize and move with your abs solely. This is such an important skill anyway to have for general integrity of the spine and whatnot. But it's also just great for having the ability to bulk longer. Bulking is just the best way to gain muscle. Bulking doesn't necessarily have to be a pound a week or even half a pound a week. I'm personally bulking, but I'm not even gaining a pound a week, a pound a month. Like I'm sort of like, what I'm doing is basically main gaining, I guess, where I'm just sort of gaining enough to gain muscle, but like just enough to really progress in the gym. That's my main priority more than anything, rather than a fixed number on a scale or whatever the hell. Because you know, scale numbers, you can inflate that, deflate that, whatever. What really matters is progression. But having the ability to actually have enough energy within the system to actually grow, and having that while you have abs, it's so sustainable. You can bulk year round. Or even bulk 2 years, 3 years in advance, and just do like a couple mini cuts in between. How awesome is that as an idea? Versus this method where you bulk for like 4 months, you starve yourself for like another 2 months, bulk for 4 months, 2 months, which is fine, you know, you can do that if you want to. But no one wants to. No one wants to be starving. No one wants to be having anxiety attacks over a brownie or feel guilty because they were so hungry that they had an extra chicken breast. You know, and I've had that plenty of times. And I'm sick of having to fucking be scared of having a cookie with my freaking parents or whatever. I'm scared. I mean, I'm tired of having to like look at my mom's curry and like, you know, just have like a teensy spoonful because, you know, she put like more than a gram of oil in there. This is why, like, these like seemingly little reasons, they add up over time. Food is part of mental health to a certain extent, and general satiety, comfort, happiness. So, yes, you can have abs by just not training them and just getting low enough in body fat percentage. But for a lot of people, that'll be a lot lower than they need to be. I would personally suggest, and I'm not saying this is someone with super huge abs, but this is also the reason why I would actually give this advice, right? Because I cut down for like months. I lost 37 pounds. Now, again, I was like 24% body fat or something. I got way too fat for my own good. But my abs were disappointing by the end of it. I was like 14 to 15% body fat. It was disappointing. It was just like... I could be leaner, I guess, but I also don't like being under 14% body fat because I'm just going to be hungry anyway. That's what a lot of people don't tell you. After you cut is almost worse because you know you can eat more. You know, it's like as soon as you eat those 500 extra calories per day, you get fucking hungry, like extra hungry. Before it'd be like, you know, you lose a lot of satiety and energy. But at the very least, you don't have that sort of feeling of, well, at least I can eat more. Now you can eat more, and now you're fucking terribly hungry. Why dig yourself into such a hole anyway to begin with? Seriously, why dig yourself to the point where you're hungry as hell? And you're going to have such a hard time sustaining that anyway, when you could have just had your abs be like a couple centimeters thicker, and so you can actually, you know, live. And anyway, if we're going to talk about attraction, a lot of women don't like bodybuilder physiques, not because of the muscle, surprisingly. It's because of how freaky the muscle is. And you're going to say, oh, that's bullshit. Women don't like steroid. Do you not? Listen, the amount of women who are out there saying that Chris Bumstead has a dad bod or whatever. He's literal Chris Bumstead. The thing is, though, women do love a guy with the chunky muscles. And here's the thing. I don't give a shit, by the way, what someone is or isn't attracted to on average. I'm not Martin Rios or Mario Rios. I'm not saying that you have to do that. But for the people who do want to actually attract, like, for the people who are like, you know, whose sole goal in life is to get bitches or whatever, which, by the way, lame. Just focus on yourself. Let the right person come to you. But let's just say you're doing this starvation diet to attract people. Women are attracted to abs to a certain extent. But what a lot of people are also really attracted to, you know, women, is the feeling that the person they're with isn't going to shit themselves over a brownie. And the person that they have may be big, but their muscles aren't super veiny or vascular or striated or whatever. Because only men really like that. And even that's debatable. And when you get thin abs, you have to make everything fit. You have to cut down on everything. You can't spot reduce fat. So when you do all the cutting down just for this one little body part that's super thin, everywhere else is going to be veiny, vascular, uncomfortable to hug, and it's just going to be terrible for the person to be with. Well, not terrible, but you know, there's a lot. I mean, I don't know. Just from what I've talked, the people I've talked to, women just don't like it when a person looks like they're made out of granite. They like it when there's something to hug, some squish. Nothing crazy, but some squish. Even though a lot of people are attracted to Jack Black. Okay, a lot of women are attracted. In all reality, everyone's attracted to anything. Okay, so you don't need to fit a certain goal physique or whatever to attract someone. You don't. You really don't. There are 8 billion people out there in the world, and you're probably bisexual and you're oppressing it. How about you just go date a man if you're so homophobic and so like, oh, men should look like this for women and gay people, just suck a dick once. I don't know. But also, that's just beside the point. Even if this starvation diet, you going dangerously low on fats, and you stuffing yourself with an absurd amount of fiber, and you just feeling exhausted at the idea of a brownie, and calculating the freaking macros of it, and putting that into MyFitnessPal. Even if you're doing all of this in the lure of attracting someone, it's not probably going to even do that. So, my advice, again, as I said, train your abs. Through spinal flexion of the abs, through stability, through compound movements. Just get them thick, get them chunky if you want a well-rounded physique. And bulk, damn it. A lot of people, one thing I do find weird is that a lot of people don't train the abs while they're bulking. They only do all the cutting. That's the stupidest thing ever. It's completely backwards. The opposite should be well, not the opposite. Well, actually, potentially the opposite, because you need less volume anyway for maintaining the physique. Way less volume, like 1/9 of the volume. So if you're doing like a really aggressive mini cut, one could potentially make the case is if you're going to do, like, you say, for example, good mornings, or Zercher deadlifts, or Zercher squats, where it's already really hard on the abs, Potentially you could skip it on the way down for a cut if you're going to go really cut, like really cut, like you're doing a protein modified spared fast or whatever, protein spared modified fast like the Lyle McDonald thing. Even though I still suggest you do train your abs throughout all of the year. What I would say, however, I would prioritize the lower abs, because the lower abs pretty much are never the most prominent for a lot of people. So try and get them a little sorted. And yeah, that's it for me. Don't get eating disorders.